wants to be spoken first. The energy surrounding this reading carries the vibration of 1111, and when this number appears, it is rarely random. It's often the universe's quiet but powerful way of saying something you have been hoping for is already aligning. Now, listen closely. For a moment, sometimes people believe that when they see 1111, it means something might happen someday. But the deeper meaning of this number is actually much more exciting than that. The number 1111 appears when something has already begun forming energetically, even if the visible result has not arrived yet. In other words, something you've been wishing for may already be moving towards you. Sometimes manifestations begin quietly. They start with small energetic shifts that you cannot see yet. A thought begins forming in someone's mind, a realization begins appearing in someone's heart, and a moment begins approaching that will soon create movement. And that is the feeling here. Something has already started. The first card appearing here is the Ace of Cups. This is one of the most beautiful cards when it comes to emotional offers. The Ace of Cups represents the moment when someone's heart begins overflowing with feelings that can no longer stay hidden. Imagine a cup filled with emotion, affection, admiration, and sincerity so full that it naturally spills over. That is the energy here. Someone in your life may be experiencing emotions for you that have quietly grown stronger over time. Maybe they didn't expect these feelings at first. Maybe they tried to ignore them or keep them to themselves. But genuine emotions have a way of becoming impossible to hide. Eventually, the heart asks a simple question. Why am I holding this back? And once that question appears, the answer usually follows soon after. The next card appearing is the Knight of Cups. This is romantic energy. In motion, the Knight of Cups represents someone who decides to follow their heart rather than stay silent. Picture someone pausing in the middle of their day, suddenly thinking about you, your smile, your voice. The way conversations with you feel natural, and little by little they begin to realize something you are not. Just another passing thought. You are someone who stays in their mind longer than expected. The Knight of Cups is someone who approaches with sincerity. They may want to talk with you, spend time with you, or show their feelings through simple, meaningful gestures. The next card appearing here is the Sunday. This card brings warmth, joy, and emotional clarity. When this person thinks about you, there is a sense of happiness that appears in their heart. Maybe you make them laugh easily. Maybe your energy feels genuine and calm. Maybe being around you simply feels good. The Sunday often appears when someone realizes that another person brings light into their life. And sometimes that realization appears slowly one moment. They notice how easy conversation feels. Another moment, they notice how comfortable they feel around you. Then suddenly they realize something simple. You make them happy. The final card appearing in this part is the Ten of Cups. This is the card of emotional fulfillment and shared happiness. The Ten of Cups represents the possibility of a connection where both people feel understood, appreciated, and emotionally supported. When this card appears alongside the Ace of Cups and the Knight of Cups, it often suggests that someone approaching you may be interested in something genuine. Not just temporary excitement, but something real, something meaningful. So the message of this first part becomes beautifully clear. Your energy has been aligning with something meaningful. Simone's heart is opening. Simone is realizing what you mean to them. And when you see the number 1111, remember this message. Congratulations, because what you desire may already be on its way to you. Now, something begins to shift in the energy here, because after admiration, after quiet thoughts, after someone slowly realizing that their feelings are becoming stronger, another question begins to appear in their mind, and the question sounds something like this. What should I do about it? The first card appearing here is the Page of Cups. This card represents emotional curiosity, the moment when someone begins allowing their heart to speak a little louder than before. Sometimes feelings begin quietly. At first, they appear as small thoughts. A memory of a conversation, a smile that returns to someone's mind, a moment where they suddenly wonder what you might be doing, and at first, they might ignore it. But the Page of Cups shows that eventually those thoughts become harder to dismiss because they keep returning again. And again, the Page of Cups is the moment when someone begins to recognize that what they feel is not just temporary interest. It is something softer, something sincere, something that feels real. The next card appearing here is the Two of Cups. This card speaks about connection. Real connection, the kind that feels natural rather than forced. Sometimes two people meet and something simply flows between them. Conversation feels easy. Laughter appears without effort. Silence doesn't feel uncomfortable. The Two of Cups often appears when someone realizes that the bond between two people carries emotional harmony. And that may be exactly what this person feels with you. They may feel that being around you feels genuine, like they can be themselves. And when someone experiences that kind of connection, it stays with them. The next card appearing here is the Star. This card brings a sense of hope. An emotional calm, the Star appears when someone begins to see another person as a source of peace in their life. Your presence may feel comforting to them. Maybe conversations with you feel honest, maybe your personality feels warm and sincere, maybe there is something about your energy that simply makes them feel relaxed. The Star suggests that when this person thinks about you, they feel a quiet happiness, almost like your energy brings a little light into their thoughts. And sometimes when someone feels that kind of emotional calm with another person, they begin to understand that the connection is special. The next card appearing here is the Knight of Pentacles. Now this card moves slowly, very slowly, but the Knight of Pentacles represents someone who takes their feelings seriously. This is not someone who rushes impulsively into emotional decisions. Instead, they observe. They think, they consider their actions carefully. This person may have been watching the situation quietly for some time, not because they were uninterested, but because they wanted to understand their feelings first. The Knight of Pentacles suggests that once they recognize the sincerity of their emotions, they move forward with intention. Carefully but sincerely, the next card appearing here is Justice. Justice represents honesty, fairness, and emotional clarity. Sometimes this card appears when someone realizes that a connection deserves honesty rather than hesitation. They begin to see the situation clearly. They begin to understand that the opportunity in front of them carries meaning. Justice suggests that this person may want to approach the connection in a respectful way. Not with confusion, not with confusion, not with sincerity. The next card appearing here is the Four of Wands. This card carries joyful energy. It represents celebration, shared happiness, and emotional comfort. The Four of Wands often appears when a connection has the potential to create moments of joy between two people, time spent together. Laughter. The simple happiness of enjoying someone's presence. And when someone begins imagining those moments with another person, something inside them begins to feel excited because they begin to picture what the connection could become. So the message appearing in this part becomes very clear. Someone has been thinking about you quietly. Their feelings have been growing slowly but sincerely. And little by little, they may be reaching a moment where staying silent no longer feels natural. Because sometimes admiration stays quiet for a long time. But eventually, the heart begins asking for something more. And when that moment arrives, Simone may decide that it's finally time to step closer to the connection. Now, the energy moves a little deeper here, because after someone realizes their feelings, and after those feelings stay in their mind long enough, another realization usually follows. And that realization is this: you might actually be the person I've been looking for. The first card appearing here is the Lovers. This card speaks about meaningful emotional connection. Not just attraction, not just curiosity, but the moment when someone understands that a bond between two people carries real importance. Sometimes this realization appears slowly. At first, someone simply enjoys being around you. They like your presence. They like your personality. They like the way conversation flows easily between you. But then, little by little, something deeper begins to appear. They begin noticing how different the connection feels compared to others. The Lover's card often appears when someone recognizes that what they feel is not ordinary. It's something that deserves attention and honesty. The next card appearing here is the Six of Cups. This card represents emotional warmth and meaningful memories. When the Six of Cups appears, it often means that someone finds themselves thinking about the small moments they shared with another person. Maybe it's the way a conversation felt natural. Maybe it's the way you laughed at something simple. Maybe it's the feeling they had after spending time with you. The Six of Cups suggests that when this person remembers those moments, they feel a sense of comfort. And comfort is powerful because when someone realizes that another person makes them feel emotionally safe, they begin valuing that connection very deeply. The next card appearing here is the King of Cups. This card represents deep emotional maturity. The King of Cups is someone who understands their feelings and eventually chooses to express them honestly. This suggests that the person thinking about you may be reaching a moment where their emotions are becoming very clear to them. They may have tried to stay calm before. They may have tried to keep their feelings quiet. But the King of Cups is someone who eventually recognizes that sincerity is more powerful than silence. And when that realization happens, emotional honesty usually follows. The next card appearing here is the Magician. This card brings the energy of manifestation again. It suggests that something you may have been hoping for, something connected to love, admiration, or recognition, may actually be forming right now. Sometimes we don't realize how our energy affects the people around us, your sincerity, your kindness, your authenticity. These qualities may have created a powerful impression on someone. The Magician suggests that your presence may have awakened feelings inside this person that they didn't expect. And now those feelings are beginning to take form. The next card appearing here is the Wheel of Fortune. This card represents movement, timing, and emotional turning points. Sometimes a connection feels quiet for a while. Nothing dramatic happens. Everything moves slowly. But then suddenly something changes. A message appears, a conversation begins. A moment arrives that shifts the entire direction of the connection. The Wheel of Fortune suggests that the situation you are stepping into may carry that kind of turning point, because timing is beginning to align. The next card appearing here is the Ten of Pentacles. This card represents stability, long-term happiness, and emotional security. When this card appears in a love reading, it often suggests that a connection has the potential to grow into something meaningful, something lasting, something that creates comfort in both people's lives. The Ten of Pentacles often appears when someone begins imagining a future with another person. Not just temporary excitement, but something that could actually become part of their life story. And that is what makes this energy feel so important. Because the message appearing in this part is becoming clear, Simone has not only been thinking about you. They have been realizing something. The connection they feel with you is different from casual attraction, different from passing interest. It feels meaningful. And when someone reaches that realization, their heart usually begins guiding them toward the next step, toward expressing what they truly feel, toward showing you that the feelings they carry are real. And that may be exactly what begins unfolding next. Now, the energy of the reading reaches a very beautiful moment here, because everything that has appeared so far, the thoughts, the growing feelings, the realization that the connection matters, begins leading towards something very simple. Action. The first card appearing here is the Knight of Cups. This card represents emotional expression. It is someone who finally allows their heart to guide their steps instead of holding everything inside. The Knight of Cups is not the energy of someone who wants to keep wondering forever. At some point, the feeling becomes strong enough that the question changes. Instead of asking, "Do I feel something?" they begin asking, "What should I do about it?" And that is the moment when movement begins. Picture someone sitting quietly thinking about you again. Maybe they remember the way your conversation felt easy. Maybe they remember how natural it felt to laugh with you. Maybe they simply notice that your presence keeps returning to their mind, even during moments when they are trying to focus on other things. And eventually a realization appears. They want to know you more. The next card appearing here is the Ace of Pentacles. This card represents opportunity, a new beginning that has the potential to become something stable and meaningful. When the Ace of Pentacles appears in a love reading, it often suggests that a connection may soon begin moving from thought into reality. This could be a message, a conversation, an invitation to spend time together. Something simple but important, because sometimes the beginning of something meaningful does not arrive with dramatic gestures. Sometimes it begins with a small step forward. The next card appearing here is the Sunday. This card carries warmth and happiness. When the Sunday appears, it suggests that the connection between two people carries positive energy, joy, comfort. The feeling of being able to relax around someone. This person may notice that when they think about you, their mood changes slightly. They may smile without realizing it, they may feel lighter, and those small emotional reactions can reveal something very important. You make them feel good, and when someone realizes that another person brings genuine happiness into their life, they naturally want to keep that connection close. The next card appearing here is the Two of Cups. This card represents mutual connection. It suggests that the bond between two people is not one-sided. There is recognition on both sides. The Two of Cups often appears when two people share a natural emotional harmony. They enjoy each other's presence. They understand each other easily. The connection feels balanced and sincere. And that balance may be one of the reasons this person feels encouraged to step closer to you. Because sometimes people hesitate when they feel unsure, but when a connection feels genuine, the heart becomes more confident. The next card appearing here is the Star. This card represents hope. The Star appears when someone begins to believe that something beautiful may be possible. This person may feel that the connection with you carries a kind of calm, positive energy, something that feels peaceful rather than complicated. Sometimes the Star appears when someone realizes that another person inspires them, not in a dramatic way, but in a quiet, steady way. The kind of inspiration that makes someone want to show their best side. And finally, the last card appearing in this part is the Ten of Cups. This is one of the most meaningful cards of emotional fulfillment. The Ten of Cups represents happiness that is shared between two people. It represents a connection where both individuals feel appreciated, understood, and emotionally supported. When this card appears alongside the Ace of Cups, the Knight of Cups, and the Two of Cups, it suggests that a connection has the potential to grow into something truly meaningful. Something that brings emotional joy to both people involved. And that is why the message at the beginning of this reading was so important. Congratulations, because the energy here suggests that something beautiful is aligning in your life. Someone's feelings are becoming clear. Someone is beginning to recognize the value of the connection they feel with you. And little by little, they may be moving toward the moment where those feelings become visible. So when you notice 1111 appearing, remember the message connected to it: alignment, movement. A wish that may already be finding its way toward reality, because sometimes what we desire most begins arriving quietly, before we even realize it has started, and this may be exactly one of those moments. And now we arrive at the closing energy of this reading. By this point, the cards have shown something very clear. Thoughts became feelings, feelings became realization, and realization begins moving toward action. The first card appearing here is the Ace of Cups once again, and when this card returns in a reading, it usually means one thing: the heart cannot stay quiet anymore. The Ace of Cups represents emotional truth that wants to be expressed openly. It is the moment when someone realizes that holding their feelings inside no longer feels natural. Imagine someone sitting alone for a moment, maybe at night, maybe during a quiet part of the day. Your name appears in their thoughts again, not because they are trying to think about you, but because their heart keeps returning there. And eventually they understand something. These feelings are real. They are not temporary curiosity. They are not just passing attraction. The Ace of Cups represents sincere emotional energy, someone whose heart wants to offer affection, honesty, and connection. The next card appearing here is the Knight of Wands. This card brings movement. The Knight of Wands represents someone who begins acting on the feelings they have been carrying, where the Knight of Cups speaks emotionally. The Knight of Wands brings courage. It is the moment when someone decides that waiting quietly is no longer enough. They may feel an urge to speak, to reach out, to move closer to the connection instead of watching from a distance. Sometimes this energy appears suddenly one moment someone is thinking quietly. The next moment they feel inspired to take a step forward. The next card appearing here is the Three of Cups. This card carries joyful energy. It represents happiness shared between people, laughter, and moments where connection feels light and genuine. When this card appears in a reading like this, it suggests that the interaction between you and this person may soon bring moments of happiness. Simple conversations, time spent together. The kind of interactions where both people feel comfortable being themselves. Sometimes the beginning of something meaningful starts exactly like that, with small joyful moments that slowly grow into something deeper. The next card appearing here is the Four of Wands. This card represents emotional stability, celebration, the sense that a connection between two people carries positive potential. The Four of Wands often appears when two people share a natural sense of harmony. Being around each other feels peaceful, easy, comfortable. It is the energy of two people who can enjoy the present moment without pressure, and sometimes that comfort is exactly what allows a connection to grow naturally. The next card appearing here is the Star. This card returns once again with a beautiful message: hope, renewal, emotional healing. The Star suggests that the connection between you and this person carries a gentle energy, something that feels refreshing rather than complicated. Sometimes people meet someone who reminds them that love can feel peaceful, not confusing, not stressful, just calm, honest, and warm. That may be how this person experiences you. Your presence may bring a sense of emotional comfort into their life, and that kind of feeling is rare. The final card appearing in this entire reading is the Sunday, and this is the perfect card to end with. The Sunday represents happiness, clarity, and emotional warmth. When the Sunday appears, it often suggests that something positive is unfolding, a connection that brings light into both people's lives. A moment where two people recognize the joy they feel around each other. The Sunday removes confusion. It brings truth into the open, and that truth may be very simple. Simone cares about you. Simone values your presence. Simone may be preparing to show you that what they feel is genuine, and that is why the message at the very beginning of this reading was so important. Congratulations, because the energy surrounding this situation suggests that something meaningful may already be forming. Simone's heart has been recognizing something special. Simone has been thinking about you. And slowly, quietly, those feelings are guiding them toward you. So when you notice 1111 appearing, remember the message that came with it: alignment, movement, and the quiet reminder that sometimes what we desire most is already finding its way into our lives. It is the moment when someone realizes that holding their feelings inside no longer feels natural. Imagine someone